Okay, so we will talk about the weather. We will talk about vicious dogs. We're mostly going to talk about this editorial. Okay, actually, it's an article, but really it should be called an editorial. It is so opinionated. There's an Associated Press story about technology in the fossil fuel industry. I'm outraged about it, and I'm delighted to have a couple guests on this program who can help shed some light on the truth. First, though, we're going to talk with Chad Halfhill with Silent Rivers about the Natural Living Expo coming up on May 18th and 19th.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
I'm a burrito.
I'm a fighting burrito, full of fresh ingredients prepared before your very eyes.
I don't have eyes.
I have over 28 options and 268 million combinations, including Rizo for vegetarians.
I can take my meat off and call myself vegetarian.
Put that back on. The Fighting Burrito is locally owned.
I'm owned by some big corporation somewhere. Say, you want to go on a date?
No thanks. I'm seeing a quesadilla.
The Fighting Burrito online, fightingburrito.com. Join the fight.
This is Dr. Holding of the Story County Veterinary Clinic. For 15 years, we have been spaying and neutering feral cat groups at affordable prices. Wild cats destroy game birds and songbirds. A single female cat can produce over 4,000 kittens in 7 years. The shelters are full, so unwanted kittens will be put to sleep. Your cats will stay home and stay healthy. Call us for all your dog and cat needs at the Story County Veterinary Clinic between Ames and Nevada on Highway 30, 1 mile east of Interstate 35, 515-232-8766.
Local farms, global flavor. That's the secret to Hawk's growing popularity. The best meals begin with the best ingredients, and 90% of Hawk's ingredients come from local farms. In addition to seasonal fruits and vegetables, Hawk features grass-fed beef and lamb, and pasture-raised chicken and duck, all raised without hormones, steroids, or cages. The coffee is fair trade, locally roasted, and Hawk's House liquors come from right here in Iowa. Hawk's owners go the extra mile, composting organic waste and recycling. For more information or to make reservations, visit hawktable.com. That's HOQ table.com.
With warm weather finally here, it's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
The 8th Annual Natural Living Expo is May 18th and 19th at the 4-H building at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. The Natural Living Expo is the place to learn about sustainable practices and healthy lifestyle choices. The expo offers classes and vendors where you'll learn about green building design, sustainable agriculture, urban farming, non-toxic cleaning products, massage, and more. There's no cost to attend, and what you'll come away with is priceless. For more information, visit www.naturallivingexpo.org. That's www.naturallivingexpo.org.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Brother Trucker, folks. Andy Fleming's Brother Trucker kicking off our conversation today on the Fallon Forum. I want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club and Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility for sponsoring this program. I want to thank Gateway Market and Cafe for sponsoring this segment of our show. I want to call attention, as if I need to the weather we are experiencing. Again, more snow than has ever fallen in Iowa in May, recorded in Forest City, 11 inches. Okay? Already in Des Moines, 1.7 inches. That was as of yesterday evening, and I'm sure we've had another couple inches on top of that. That is, if not a record, it's really, really unusual. And so, of course, the crazies of the world are saying, well, that proves climate change isn't happening. Actually, no, if you study the models, this is what climate change brings. Overall, global temperatures are up, but locally you can have crazy weather that can go either direction. Drought, flood, really hot, really cold. So it all makes sense. It's disturbing. I really hope this doesn't wreck Iowa or anywhere else's fruit crop this year. I mean, we kind of rely on fruit. It's not a bad thing to eat. And if we lose that, it's going to hurt the economy and our diets. But we're going to talk about some positive stuff because there is a lot of positive stuff going on the sustainability front. And leading the charge here in Des Moines, Chadden Halfhill. Chadden, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ed.
Chadden is with Silent Rivers and wears a lot of hats, including a pretty dapper, whatever kind of hat that's called. I don't know what it's called, but it sure is dapper.
Yeah, actually, technically, I don't know. It's a Borsalino. I know the brand name.
All right,
Borsalino. But I don't know. It's a.
In addition to being a classy hat wearer, you are a classy event organizer. We've got a pretty classy event coming up here, May 18th and 19th at the Fair 4-H building.
Correct.
On the fairgrounds.
Yeah, now we're very excited about. Silent Rivers has been involved in it since its inception. It's its 8th annual Natural Living Des Moines event. We focus, the event itself highlights sustainability, highlights green building, highlights health and wellness, holistic and conscious living. It's all about lifestyle. It's all about changing a lifestyle. In fact, for me, what that event has always been about and why I like to sponsor it is trying to build the marketplace, build the awareness, build the education for a lifestyle shift here in the metro area. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Well, people need to find out about the options. They need to learn about how do you deal with nutrition? What kind of nutritional aspects can you have? What about local foods? What about organic foods? What about different exercise routines? And where do you learn about that? And how do you then also learn to apply that to your own lives?
That's quite a range, quite a lot of diversity. So now, do I understand correctly? You also showcase green building strategies, technologies.
Yeah, there'll be one of our educational tracks is green building, and so you'll have the Green Building Council of Home Builders Association is looking to do some education as well. Mm-hmm. They're sponsoring the stage, and then there's Center on Sustainable Communities. We'll be doing a class on deconstruction, which is
What's deconstruction?
Deconstruction is how do you take buildings and take them apart and then reuse the materials because you have embodied energy within the building. Why waste it and send it to landfill?
Right, that used to be called demolition because that's all that used to happen with old buildings. Yeah. You just take a wrecking ball. And, as kids, we used to enjoy watching that happen. Correct. Oh, look, isn't that cool, Billy? Look at that big building coming down. Exactly. Yeah. So, but again, not the best thing for the environment, not the most responsible way to approach.
And frankly, one of the greenest companies in the metro area is Habitat for Humanity. Not only do you have materials that go to it that get reused and repurposed, but their leadership as it relates to taking efficient, affordable houses and optimizing their wall assembly, optimizing how they build, that's all part of this as well. And they're going to have their wall assembly there, and they're going to do some different activities to help people understand how to take very simple strategies to effectively, efficiently build your house.
And true, there's no cost to attend the expo.
You are correct. Yeah, right. The event is free to the public.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We just talked about green building. You also have natural parenting. There's a section called the Village that's supported by Willisong Midwifery Care and the Healing Passages Birth and Wellness Center. And they're bringing together all different people that support that marketplace. It's the natural parenting. It's how do you look at lactation consulting and different dietary issues as it relates to pregnancy and raising young children. So there'll be a whole series of different tracks, of educational tracks that help promote natural lifestyle.
Okay, very good. Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. I've been to the Natural Living Expo many times. This is the 8th annual.
Yep.
I don't think I've been to every one, but that's an impressive run. Obviously, you're doing something that people like, that people want, and I think, gosh, and again, one of my big concerns, climate change. As we move further and further into the new climate era, we're going to have more knowledge about how we adapt, how we change our lives. And you know what I like about the things we will need to do to adapt, most of it's good for us, and most of it's good for our environment and for our community as well.
And there'll be a lot of that conversation at the show. We're going to show some films as well. And so there'll be a film on Ina May's The Farm. Ina May Gaskin is one of the leaders in the birthing movement. You have another one that we're having, and I'm blanking the name right off the top of my head, but it's about a farm or a group of farmers that took control of their life up in Maine. So not so much about the adaptation of the climate change, but adaptation to big agriculture and large financial investors who were trying to basically, as dairy farmers, they weren't making any money for their work, and so they created their own solution, and it's a film about that.
Yeah. That is good stuff. I'm looking forward to again, folks. It is free, which is amazing that you can pull this off without charging the public. I know you have booths available. I believe you have still room for some vendors if folks want to come in and showcase what they're doing.
That would be
It's
delightful.
a great audience. It's a wonderful audience.
It's a very targeted audience.
Yeah,
It's very
exactly. Yeah,
and that's very different than many of the other shows. We opted to keep it free because we found that it impeded people from being able to attend, and so there was younger families that need this information or want to understand this information. They can take the DART. DART's one of our sponsors, and they can take the bus there. We just encourage people to come.
Great. Well, again, we've been plugging it every day on the show, and we'll continue
Excellent.
to do
Thank
that.
you.
And I'd love to have at least one or two of your vendors on briefly to talk about their particular niche sometime between now and the expo. So, Chad and keep us posted. Folks, if you see possibly the most colorful brochure you've ever seen center, there we go. It's you'll see these posters around town, and more details on the backside as well. And again, please spread the word, and let's make this a great expo because it comes at an important time, and we need to be more and more aware than ever before about how we achieve more sustainable lives. Chadden, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ed.
We're going to switch gears, folks, and talk about energy. We're talking about energy. I believe we've got Tim Dwight on the phone. Tim, is that you?
Hey, Fallon, how you doing?
Good. This is Tim?
Good. How's that weather in Iowa today?
Oh, well, it is absolutely amazing. We are looking at I don't know, 3-4 inches of snow here in Des Moines, 11 inches in Forest City. I mean, it's phenomenal. And it took down the tree in front of my house at 4:10 in the morning. I heard this crash. And you know how your mind is when you're only half awake? I woke up and I thought, oh, should I get up and see what that was? I thought, no, it was probably just a meteorite. I'll check it in the morning. I don't know why I thought it was a meteorite, but it sounded that loud. But the weather is having its impact on all sorts of aspects of our ecosystem, including energy. I mean, folks are running their furnaces a lot more, burning a lot more fuel right now. And, how we heat ourselves, how we heat our houses, rather, how we cool our houses as well in businesses. It's an important issue, and I'd like to think that we are moving in the direction of more and more renewables. But then I see stories like the one in today's paper, not just in today's Des Moines Register, but across the country, praising oil drilling and making this casual reference to climate change, saying, additional fossil fuels may pose a more acute threat to the Earth's climate. I can't believe I'm reading an Associated Press story and not some kind of propaganda from the oil, coal, and natural gas industries. I mean, if I wasn't woken up by the tree, this would have had me jump up out of my chair as well. Yeah. So
there's all kinds of misinformation out there. It's pretty intense argument, or no, I wouldn't say argument. Conversation, because there's a lot of involved, not just in the utility sector, but as the humanity in itself, as well as the environment and other species on our planet. Yeah, we're seeing some interesting things that are happening around the world over the last couple of years, and the intensity of these storms, as well as the times that these storms are coming. I mean, I'm 38 years old, but I can remember a day in my lifetime I've seen it snow in May in Iowa. Yeah. And, being an Iowan and paying, even though I spend time out here in California because the renewable energy industry is exploding, or it has started to explode. It first started out here. But just seeing, the floods, the destruction that's happened, billions of dollars that we are spending to fix these problems instead of, find solutions. And, we a lot less of people's money if we would dive more, understand sustainable solutions as well as renewable energy.
Yeah.
And, and this paradigm of how we are shifting to more technologies that, one, creating jobs, saving people money.
Tim, the connection. The connection. Sometimes it sounds fine, and sometimes you're cutting out a little bit. So I don't know what the problem is. But we can hear most of what you're saying. Every once in a while, there's a little bit of a click. But yeah, no, you're from Iowa, but you also have a business in California that works on renewable fuels. You still there? Hello, Tim.
That's a really bad spot because my place out here is kind of stuck up.
Tim, do you possibly have a landline we could call you back on? Hello? Okay, I think we lost him. Or we're going to try to make that happen on a different line. Yeah, this story again. I'm kind of shocked. I expect more from the Associated Press, and I looked up this guy's the author Jonathan Fahey's history a little bit, and he does seem to have a. I mean, I need to study it a little bit more, but. This wouldn't be the first time he's given a warm and fuzzy wet kiss to the oil, coal, and natural gas industries. There's very casual mention about how solar energy now generates 6 times more electricity in the U.S. than it did a decade ago, and wind produces 18 times more electricity than 10 years ago. So in a decade, we've seen solar increase by 6-fold, and wind by 18-fold. I mean, that's incredible. You're not seeing that kind of growth in the oil, coal, and natural gas industries. But again, this article is so biased. I really am in shock. But again, maybe we should not expect anything else from the mainstream media. Again, it says at one point, in the race to conquer energy technology, fossil fuels are winning. Okay, really? Fossil fuels are winning, despite the fact that solar is up 6-fold, wind 18-fold in 10 years. Fossil fuels are winning? I mean, if fossil fuels are winning, we're all losing because there is no doubt. I mean, science has demonstrated beyond a shadow of a doubt that the world is warming. You cannot deny that the world is warming. And you also cannot deny with any credibility that our propensity to burn fossil fuels and emit carbon and methane is behind the problem. It's not a subject for disagreement anymore. It's a fact. All right, let's get beyond that. So I'm just shocked to see that Associated Press doesn't get this. Again, they say oil companies, big and small, have used technology to find a bounty of oil and natural gas so large that worries about running out have melted away. Really, worries have melted away. We now have an infinite supply of oil, coal, natural gas. And we should not be concerned at all about the effect on the climate. I mean, the author of the journalist, the guy writing this story, says that fossil fuels may pose an impact on the Earth's climate. I mean, what science is this guy reading? I don't get it. I do not understand how that could possibly be in an Associated Press article without some editor saying, whoa, do you realize how off base you are with what the science is saying? Anyway, I think we're not back on a phone call yet. We're still trying to work that out. We will get back on a phone call shortly. I want to talk more about this. I got some other things to cover as well, including the U.S. Senate race, including a couple updates on some of the issues we've talked about in the past, local stuff relating to this dog problem. I hate to have to talk about that, but it's a big issue here in Central Iowa right now. And also a couple updates on a couple other issues, including gun violence. But we're going to talk more about this issue because it is pretty darn important. We're going to take a short break. I want to thank Gateway Marketing Cafe for sponsoring the Fallon Forum. They're at 20th and Woodland. And, of course, a fantastic cafe, but also a grocery store. So check them out, folks. Gateway Marketing Cafe. I'll be back in just a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
The dawn of a new era begins.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Technology, so much fun. I tell you, juggling phones, computers, headsets, wow, keeps me on my feet. Gosh, the weather is keeping us all on our feet. I can't imagine how much damage there is out there across Iowa. I just, every time I run into somebody who does not get the climate change thing, I guess I take a step back and say, okay, well, maybe we just need to be go a little more slowly at this the conversation and make sure folks get it. And then I read the AP story: oil drilling technology leaps, clean energy lags. Well, I'm delighted to have Tim Dwight on the phone with us, and we have Rob Hawk joining us later. Tim, I'm sorry we had a bad connection the first time, but you are, just to be clear, you're calling us from California.
That's correct.
Okay, and you're from Iowa. You were actually an athlete of some note here in Iowa years ago.
That's right. I born and raised Iowa Cityan. Played for the Iowa Hawkeyes under Hayden Fry, and then was lucky enough to spend about a decade in the NFL. So I've seen my fair share of the football field.
You have indeed, yes. And your knees are still holding out?
That's right. Yoga has helped that.
Oh, good. Okay. And tell us more. Tell us a little bit about your business, because you're focused on renewable energy in a big way.
Yeah. Well, as I was retiring out of football at the age of, the ripe age of 33, you still got a couple more decades to live. So I figured I might want to do something with my time, and I had an opportunity to look at a solar company, solar integrator, and I liked the model that we had. I looked at the market and saw that the growth was expanding at an incredible rate. And I thought, hey, there's a lot of sun in Iowa. There's a lot of sun in the United States. The sun can be everywhere. Why not be a part of this? So I jumped with both feet in, dove heavy into the energy industry, not just with renewable energy, but all the energies, because solar, in the end of this game, will basically power the rest of the world. We won't see that tomorrow, but we're probably going to see that in 50 to 100 years from now. Well, so I wanted to be part of that, and now I've been, over the last 4 years, trying to help build the solar industry in the state of Iowa, and it's starting to come around. It's starting to work for us. So we're starting to create some policies, as well as just education in the marketplace on an opportunity that most Americans and most people on the planet have really never understood, let alone had the opportunity to take part in.
Right. And nationally, we're seeing a six-fold increase in the amount of solar energy being generated over the past decade. That's significant.
Oh, absolutely. Well, solar, it's been a technology that was very space-aged. The first solar cell was built in the 1830s.
Really?
People believe that.
I did not know that.
And is a 1% efficient. And then the Siemens picked it up in the 30s. NASA built the first solar module in the 50s. And as we went off the planet, we need to power these satellites with not combustion engines, since there's no oxygen in space. And we didn't have the opportunity to go up and fuel it, because we were just sending these satellites up in space for the first time ever. So we need to learn how to power these batteries. So the solar cell has been deeply embedded into the space industry or space race for a very long time. And as some of us know, some of us older generations, we first saw solar come onto the marketplace in the mid-'70s, when the technology was very expensive. It was on a very small scale. And, it got pretty much pushed out of the market in the early 80s with Reagan, when he stepped in there and
took the solar panels off the White House after President Carter had installed them there. Yeah. So do you see, does this kind of, does the expansion of drilling for oil, fracking for natural gas, does the discovery of new sources of fossil fuels and the development of new technologies, does that set solar back a bit? Does that set wind back a bit?
It depends. It depends on the market. It depends on the customer and what the customer values. That's the one part of this conversation that people are forgetting, is that we value our products that we buy. If you go to a Hy-Vee, or you stop off at a Come and Go, and you look at a bunch of different types of candy bars or potato chips or things to drink, you value these products that sit inside the cases or on the shelves. Well, ever since the beginning of electricity, we've never had the opportunity to value different forms of energy. And people never even thought of that, because they say, hey, I have electricity, I can turn on my light, I'm good to go.
Right.
Well, they never see the back end of the story.
Right.
And so now we're starting to understand how we're valuing our energy and where we can source it and what those values entail. Cost, risk, pollution, inflation. So as these traditional generators or traditional sources of energy, and people are starting to talk about how we're finding new reservoirs and new ways to extract them, it still gets back to the conversation, or the beginning of the conversation, of what's the value in that?
Right.
And what's the end game in that?
Yeah. And what's the impact beyond the whatever cost of extraction is involved? And the other question I have is, to what extent is the oil, gas, coal industry? To what extent are they subsidized by the taxpayers I mean, everything I've seen shows that there's a lot more of my money going to subsidize that than there is going to support solar and wind development.
Well, the government's always been involved in the energy business since day one. Ever since we started building coal plants, natural gas plants, and especially nuclear plants, the government's always been involved in that because it's been a regulated industry. And when you have a regulated industry, the government has to be involved. So, for decades, traditional generators have been subsidized incredibly. Either it's free water, free land, territories where other generators or other participants or competitors can't even come into the marketplace.
Right.
Like take Iowa, for instance.
Yep.
We have territories in our state, and the customer, the ratepayer, has never had the opportunity to go outside that and ask, hey, why can't I buy energy from a solar generator or a wind generator or somebody else in the marketplace? Because as we see in marketplaces on any industry, as the more players you have in the market, the better the market becomes. It becomes less cost, it becomes more efficient, and becomes more predictable. I mean, you look at our telecommunications over the last 20 years of its life when we jumped from the landline in the mid-'80s to the cellular phone. Now, if these monopolies were not broken up at that time, we would still be talking on the landline like we you and I are doing right now. The cell phone would never have hit the market.
Right.
Semiconductivity would have still been at a good pace, but with computers and never transferred into the phone. So as you talk to people and say, would you give back your cell phone today? And 99% of the people will probably say no. Right. Well, in 10 years from now or 15 years from now, when a lot of people have solar on their house or a wind generator, or they're buying these other products that are less cost and better for the environment, they're probably going to say the same thing. I would never go back to buying energy off a line.
Hey, Tim, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And again, I even though the story by AP upset me, I think it has spawned some good conversation, and hopefully will spawn some further editorial discussion in the mainstream press as well. So again, good luck with your company is just so folks can know the name and get in touch with you if they want to.
My company's name is Integrated Power Corporation, or better known as iPower, because we believe giving the power back to the people. And you can visit us on the web at www.ipowercorp.com.
Great. Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us.
Ed, it was good talking with you.
All right.
Have a nice weekend.
Switching from solar to wind, we're going to welcome Rob Hawk to the show. Rob, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ed?
Good. I hope you caught a little bit of the conversation with Tim.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And I hope you had a chance to look at this Associated Press article. And again, maybe I'm too sensitive, but it really bothered me when, especially the part where they indicate that fossil fuels may have an adverse effect on the Earth's climate. I just can't understand how any mainstream media could write that. And then to basically dismiss renewable technologies as secondary, as lagging. I mean, the headline, oil drilling technology leaps, clean energy lags. I mean, even though they say clean energy lags, later they admit that solar has increased sixfold in the last 10 years. And the industry you're involved with, wind, has increased 18-fold in the past decade.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The last year, 40% of all the energy that was put into the grid system came from new generation, was from wind power. So wind power had a strong presence in new generation last year.
Is that in Iowa or nationally?
Nationally. In Iowa, we're at 25% of all the electricity in Iowa is generated from a wind turbine. So if you look around the room that you're in, 1 out of every 4 light bulbs is powered by a wind turbine.
Right. That's very impressive, and that has grown too. As I mean, it's probably not long before we're going to be hitting 30%.
Right. At the rate of growth, we're doing pretty good here in Iowa.
Yeah.
Our state legislators are doing a very nice job on creating the incentives for renewable energy in Iowa.
So, I mean, does this kind of story, does this kind of mentality set back solar and wind?
It's more propaganda. As I was reading through it, it's propaganda that's being put out there by the oil industry. When you talk to other consumers, they're in favor of a resource like wind and solar that doesn't pollute. I'm in Alta, Iowa. You can go Storm Lake, and you have little emblems on the storm drains and that don't pour oil down the drain. And you don't see emblems on the ground that says don't pour wind down the drain or don't pour sun down the drain. The majority of the consumers are wanting to be able to get away from things that require a war in order to protect.
But we still have massive subsidies for the oil, natural gas, and coal industries, and part of those subsidies involve cleaning up the mess. I mean, who paid for the cleanup in Arkansas? I mean, that spill wasn't even labeled oil because it came from tar sand. So the Exxon got out. My understanding, unless something's changed, Exxon got out without having to pay for the cleanup. That fell on us, the taxpayers. And I don't know how much of this research that has developed these new techniques for extracting oil from deeper and deeper reservoirs. I don't know how much of that research has involved tax money as well, but I would be surprised if there weren't a lot of tax dollars involved in that.
Right. Oh, it's unbelievable. Well, and they're talking about the development of the oil resources, and I had a company call the office. I guess oil companies can go out and skip the SEC filing.
Oh, really?
The guy from Colorado called me up, and he wanted me to invest. He didn't know that I worked in the wind industry, and I was ready to chew him out. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to see what the incentives are for oil exploration. And so he sent me the prospectus without filing an SEC. Somehow they skipped that. You can't solicit across state borders unless you have an SEC filing. And anyway, I got the prospectus anyway. In the prospectus, it says, an example, a participant in a joint venture who puts up $100,000 would yield up to $80,000 tax deduction in the first year. In the first year, you can get 80% of your investment back from the taxpayers. From your pocketbook and my pocketbook, $100,000 investment, you get 80% of the investment in an oil development company back from the taxpayers in the first year.
Really? And does that apply to coal and natural gas as well? Does it apply to wind and solar?
Well, the company that solicited me was Swan Energy, oil and gas, and they're out of Colorado, and so as I'm reading their prospectus, if 80% of the investment constituted an IDC deduction as long as the drilling starts before March 31st of the following year, if the participant receives $65,000 in gross income in the first year, 15%, $10,000 may be non-taxable. So even on my, it's just unbelievable how much they get in incentives from the taxpayers.
Yeah. So I mean, it just part of one thing that troubles me. There's a lot of things that trouble me about the story this morning, but one thing that troubles me deeply is that this is essentially a piece written by Big Oil. I mean, absolutely, they could not have penned this more favorable to their point of view, and yet somehow, Associated Press considers this legitimate journalism. I don't get that. I don't understand how they can do that. I don't know what the connection is. I don't know whether this reporter is coming from the private sector, planning to go there. I don't know. I mean, I can't believe there's not some kind of revolving door here happening. I don't get it. Or maybe there's an advertising revenue question. I don't know. There's no. I mean, again, even when you look at the headline, "Clean Energy Lags," and then you read the fine print about the incredible growth in solar and wind, 18-fold for wind in 1 decade. I mean, even the evidence contradicts the headline. So.
Yeah,
we have our work cut out for us, Rob. Do we not?
No, exactly. And with the drilling, I haven't been against the drilling of oil and natural gas because that means that hopefully our soldiers will come back from the Middle East, and we don't have to be putting them in front of insurgents' arms.
And there is that angle, and you and I might disagree on that angle. But again, I appreciate what you're saying. The last thing we want to do is to be sending our young men and women overseas to fight for oil. But I would love to see us go beyond oil completely.
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing with that at all.
Yeah.
But And as Tim had stated, that in the next 50 years, most likely we're going to be completely off of oil and using our natural resources rather than trying to extract it from the earth. But we are where we are right now. We're in a war for the last 11 years. My son's 11 years old. And all he's known is that, well, the U.S. is at war.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully that's winding down, and that'll be the last time we go off to war for oil. We'll see. Anyway.
Nice.
Hey, Rob, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and remind folks of your business and how they can get in touch with you if they want to.
Our company is Wind and Solar Specialists. It's a subsidiary of our parent company, Anemometry Specialists. We work for the large wind farms, but we also help out farmers and ranchers with wind and solar. And our company is WASSUS.com. So Wind and Solar Specialist US.com is our website. And we can help out on their farms with growing their own energy.
Great. Hey, well, Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know you've got a busy schedule, and always good to have you on the program.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it.
All right, folks, we're going to come back in a few minutes, and Heather Ryan's going to join us. We've got a few things to talk about, and who knows what the heck's on Heather Ryan's mind, but we're going to find out.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
The 8th Annual Natural Living Expo is May 18th and 19th at the 4-H building at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. The Natural Living Expo is the place to learn about sustainable practices and healthy lifestyle choices. The expo offers classes and vendors where you'll learn about green building design, sustainable agriculture, urban farming, non-toxic cleaning products, massage, and more. There's no cost to attend, and what you'll come away with is priceless. For more information, visit www.naturallivingexpo.org. That's www.naturallivingexpo.org.
Community CPA is the 15th largest CPA firm in Iowa, providing audit, tax, and accounting services. Community CPA specializes in international tax treaty and double taxation avoidance among countries and states. 9 dedicated, experienced, hardworking staff are the company's foundation, and their compassion towards every client is the secret behind Community CPA's success. At Community CPA, you can expect quality service year-round. Call 288-3188. Community CPA, 3816 Ingersoll. Experience the difference.
Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines, and check out ritualcafe.com.
Wow, some wedding.
Yeah, I've never seen a bride in coveralls.
Right, and skipping down the aisle to accordion music.
Not to mention the reception. That wedding cake was a freaking fruit cake.
It's your wedding. Don't leave anything to chance. Diana's Wedding Cakes. Using only the finest, freshest ingredients with free on-time delivery and setup. Choose one of Diana's custom designs or create your own. Call Diana's Wedding Cakes, 641-275-9279. That's 641-275-9279.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Who's this silly person in my studio, man? Get her out of here. Well, wait, that's Heather Ryan. I didn't think
You never know what's going through my mind.
No, yeah, and that's probably just as well, right? Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, Heather, on this beautiful May afternoon.
Ugh.
Can you believe this stuff?
My windshield wipers broke because the snow was so heavy. It actually was on top of the windshield wipers, and they're like, no, I'm not doing it. So they're all cattywampus right now.
Yeah, it says Des Moines could see 5 inches, and I'm not. I think we may be there already. I mean, again, because some of it's melting really fast, but there's at least 3 inches in my yard.
There has to be,
Yeah.
for sure. It just came down on my van like whoosh.
You know what else came down was the big tree in front of my house, the entire 100-year-old oak tree.
Oh, because it's so heavy, probably. The snow's so heavy on it.
Maybe, yeah, the whole thing. I mean, from the base, there's nothing left. It actually came up from the roots.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It was really weird. I heard it go down.
That's tweet worthy. Did you tweet that?
I should have
take
tweeted
a picture
that.
of it and tweet it.
No, I should have taken a picture, but I'm really bad about that. But I heard it at 4:10 in the morning. I woke up and this is true. I woke up and I thought I should get up and see what that was. It was loud, and then I thought, oh, it's probably just a meteorite. I'll go check it in the morning.
What are you dreaming about?
No, I was awake.
It's more realistic for a tree to come down.
I know.
Than
I don't know why I was
meteorite.
thinking meteorite, and why I was thinking, oh, it's okay. I'll just check that in the morning,
The meteorite will still be there. It's
Well,
not
and
going
I also
anywhere.
remember, okay, I don't feel any cold air coming in. I don't feel any rain. I'll just check it in the morning. We'll see what the
It
meteorite
must
did.
not have crunched my house. It's
It
all
didn't
good.
crunch my
I'm
house.
fine.
It crunched the neighbor's car.
Oh no!
It was kind of amazing that so little damage was done.
Tell me it wasn't the forest green Ford.
It was not the Ford.
Oh, thank God.
It wasn't the green Ford. Thank God. Hey, listen. I value the tree more than the green Ford. Okay.
I know you do.
But,
I know.
And actually, the green Ford's owner, I think, values the tree more than the green Ford as well. So, all right. So, yeah. But this is part of the climate change. All right.
It really is.
This is part of the scenario. This is what's predicted: wetter, drier, hotter, colder. Overall, warmer temperatures, and there's no disputing that the Earth's temperature is warmer. Earth's running a fever, and she ain't going to calm down. Because there's so much carbon in the pipeline, it's going to keep. We gotta. That's why.
How do you wake people up, though, Ed? That's what I want to know. How do people get jazzed about?
Well, we get a march going across the U.S. and we
know.
demand action on climate change, and we get more people aware of the power of their ability to influence change. I mean, it's not a technology problem. We just heard from Rob Hawk. We just heard from Tim Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much going on with solar and wind. Again, solar up 6-fold in 10 years.
It's amazing.
Wind production up 18-fold in 10 years.
Amazing. And
technology is not the problem.
We're really the benefactors of that.
Oh,
on
gosh,
so many levels.
It's the political will that's missing. It's the leadership. And again, we do have some folks who are providing some great leadership. I mean, Ed Markey in Massachusetts, a U.S. congressman, has done a great job on this. Tom Harkin's been good.
He has. Tom's my boy.
Actually, all of Iowa's congressional delegation, including, Steve King, have been good on the wind energy tax credits. But we have State Senator Rob Hogue, who has been doing one of the best jobs of any state lawmaker in the country on this issue. But again, overall, the leadership's not there.
Well, the leadership would be there if the people raise their voices, and that's what we have to figure out: how to get people to raise their voices and have a fit. We can't even get people to have a fit about gun control, and that's a really big issue. How do you get people to have a fit enough to make your leaders?
And yet every day there is, let's switch gears, Heather, nice segue. Every day there is a new reason to be concerned about the lack of action on gun control. I mean, yesterday, I didn't realize that was that was the congressional district you ran in, that
Kentucky's first
horrible
congressional.
situation in Kentucky.
Right, where the little 5-year-old boy took his rifle and accidentally shot his 2-year-old sister. That was my district.
His rifle.
His rifle. And it was like a miniature rifle for children. I mean, it's asinine. And I saw his aunt and uncle on TV saying, we could have never predicted this. Yes, you could have. Yeah, you could have.
Don't buy the kid a rifle at
get
age
a
5.
child a rifle. It's really not rocket science. And
then they left it out. It was sitting in the corner, apparently.
Yeah, Mom literally walked outside of the trailer, and he picked up his rifle and shot his sister.
I mean, is that a crime? Is it a crime to have a
It should
5-year-old with a rifle sitting out?
It really should be. It should be some kind of criminal negligence, some kind of really bad parenting.
It's clearly bad parenting, and I assume the family feels horrible, but
I'm sure.
Why does this happen? Why?
You really can see these things coming.
Yeah.
You really can predict these things.
I mean, I'm all for background checks, and you know what? If I had a 5, I mean, there ought to be a background check that says, "Oh, you're 5. No, we're not going to sell you a gun."
Yeah, it doesn't pass the background. Something wrong with that smell test there.
Or mentally incompetent. I mean, I'm sorry. If you're 5 years old, you may be a brilliant kid. You may be the most wonderful thing to come along in the universe, but you're 5.
Yeah.
You're still not. I mean, you're not mentally competent to vote. You're not considered, able to sit on jury duty. We don't send you off to combat until you're 18. You still got 13 years to go, but somehow you can own a gun?
Yeah, you really shouldn't be able to. And the fact that it was in my congressional district that I ran for is amazing. I mean, just astounding.
You have to wonder if that person voted for you or not.
I'm guessing no.
No? Right.
Because I would have said there's something wrong with 5-year-olds who have guns.
Again, every day, though, there's something. I mean, this is yesterday at the Houston airport, Houston, Texas. Did you hear this one?
I did, yes.
A guy goes in and fires a gun inside a ticketing area. Apparently, he fired it up in the air. But people are scrambling. And then what happened next is still under discussion, but he gets shot by one of the Homeland Security agents in the airport. And again, that may have been justified. I don't know. But at some point, are we going to ask the question, are there too many dang guns floating around in this country?
It's my understanding that he did have an assault rifle in his car, the same one, the AR-15.
Oh, really? Oh, we know that now. I hadn't heard
that was on CNN. I who knows? It's CNN. But
well, they're better
but
than Fox.
They did say that he did have an AR-15 in his vehicle, and it was loaded up with the maximum capacity of ammunition that you can have.
So I mean, I'd love to hear. I'd love to know. And presumably, they'll figure this out. Why he came into the airport with that particular gun while leaving so much more in the car, and what he really had in mind. I mean, he had to be a little bit unstable, or maybe
they
very,
said suicidal.
Very unstable.
Suicide by cop. That's what they've pinned on it so far.
He was trying to get killed by a police officer.
Correct. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Gosh, well,
but it doesn't mean that we should have guns. I mean,
I mean, I'm not arguing against guns all across the board. I'm just saying I'm arguing for some common sense. I mean, there are people who just should not be allowed to carry weapons, and maybe again, I don't know enough about this story. Clearly, the 5-year-old should not have had a weapon.
Clearly,
and maybe this guy.
It was a special gun too. Did you see a picture of it?
No, I didn't.
It's just it was little, like tiny, like for a little child.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, no, it really was disturbing. It was really disturbing.
Also disturbing, since I know you're a huge. I know one of your pet peeves is big dogs with nasty teeth that tear people
Vicious
apart.
Animals, yes.
And we had something happen in your area of the city.
We did?
No. Oh, sorry. It was Prairie City.
Oh, yeah.
Further, I know it was east of Des Moines, east of downtown. Yeah, Prairie City, right? But now this is from the west side. The incident in Grimes,
right,
where a couple is walking. I think yesterday. Was this yesterday or Sunday? It was Sunday. They're walking their dog, their little, what's it called? Little beagle. And they're attacked by a 50-pound Labrador retriever mix. I've never heard of labs and retrievers attacking people, but this dog was vicious. And it bit this woman's right thigh and her abdomen. Then it punctured the skin. Then it moved on to her face, bit and scratched at her eyes, and finally bit her nose off.
That's bizarre.
I mean, her husband
Crazy.
is hustling to help her. He's fighting the dog. He finally had to get the dog off of her by biting its nose off.
Oh my God, I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah. He bit the dog in its nose. Well, actually, he didn't bite the dog's nose off. He bit it in its nose, and that caused it to leave his wife alone. But she's a mess. I mean, gosh, she's got. I mean, and here's the amazing stuff is, this guy's a heavy equipment operator too, so presumably he's got some physical prowess. Okay, so here's what the dog is in quarantine.
To see if it has rabies.
Quarantine. I mean, in quarantine. Why is it not freaking dead? I mean, come on.
I think they have to quarantine.
Why is it not dead?
I think it will be. But I'm pretty
sure
that this is a technicality. They have to make sure it's not diseased before they kill it.
But no, here's it. This is not the first time. This dog has done this before. Well, maybe not to that extent, but it was impounded by the Des Moines police in 2012 for attacking another dog. It didn't attack a person, but still it attacked another dog.
This should be a red flag. This is not rocket science. This is a red flag. Your dog is vicious. Your dog is going to eat a child someday. And this is kind of like the guns. I mean, you can see these things coming.
Yeah. And this is an adult that attacked. I mean, it tore her nose off. I mean, I do not understand why. I don't know. I mean, first of all, here's my question is, it had already attacked another dog. Why is it even still allowed to be anywhere where it can be? I mean, lock it up in a house maybe, but it's running in the yard loose. It didn't like jump a fence. It just ran out into the street. It was allowed to be out loose, even after being known to do something vicious. I don't get. A lot of it is. A lot of my Republican friends clamor for personal responsibility.
Why do you have Republican friends? Is my question.
Why don't you have Republican friends? Is my question.
They annoy me. That's why they annoy me.
I mean, I get my buddy Frank, and he was on the phone here earlier, but Frank from Des Moines.
I wouldn't consider Frank my friend.
Okay, well, he's my friend on Facebook, and if he's on Facebook,
a lot of Facebook
that's all
friends.
that counts, right?
I don't even know half my Facebook friends.
Okay, but I mean, they're always talking about personal responsibility. Where's the personal responsibility here, or with the gun issues? Where's the personal responsibility?
Unless it applies to them, I guess personal responsibility is only a problem if it's applied to you. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. I wish I had an answer for Republicans and conservative right-wing nutbags in general, not just Republicans.
Speaking of which, Steve King.
I had a feeling you were going to talk about
Gonna
Steve King.
run for Congress? Gonna run for the U.S. Senate or not?
Absolutely.
He is.
Absolutely.
You think so?
I do.
Really?
I do. I disagree with you on this. I think he's such an egomaniac. He absolutely loves the spotlight. He'll get a ton of media.
He'll get plenty of spotlight running for re-election in the 4th district.
Not as much.
Not as much. True.
Not a statewide. He'll get national attention if he runs for Senate.
And you'll think he'll win?
No, I don't. But I do think he'll run.
Yeah, but he knows he can look at the numbers. He knows the numbers aren't favorable.
Right. Well,
so he doesn't care about that. He's willing to lose his seat in Congress just for the additional ego gratification of running for U.S. Senate.
I can't tell you why he's crazy. I can just tell you he's crazy. I just know that he's a nutbag and he's absolutely egomaniac. He's totally going to run.
Okay, and crazy or not, I don't know whether he's crazy. He's actually very personable. I mean,
George Bush is personable.
Sure,
that doesn't mean I like him.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, more and more of the likely candidates are dropping out. Latham said no. Kim Reynolds said no. And my mea culpa, I said I thought Bill Northey was going to do it, folks. Bill Northey just today said no.
Oh, I think I'm the one that said there's no way.
Yeah, okay. Sure well, go ahead, rub that in.
Okay, I think I will.
Hey, Maddie, this could get ugly in here. Better turn the mics out while I deck Heather. I'll probably lose
I'm
that
ready.
one.
I'm ready.
I'll probably lose that one.
I'll fight this
never pick
battle
a fight with an East
Steve
Side woman. No, so I mean, well, who's left? I mean, who? I mean, is Braley going to get a walk on this? And I would love to see a U.S. Senator Bruce Braley. I'm all over that. That's great.
No, he's not going to get a walk. I really think King's going to run. He's just.
You really think King's going to run?
I would bet money on it, and Iowa's not a gambling state that way, so I would bet money on it. Yes.
You can't bet on politics.
I don't think so. Not without getting in trouble because of personal responsibility.
Yeah, well, we call them campaign contributions, like that. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know. Some of the other names that are being mentioned are talk about the second tier, the Farm League. This is not even Farm League. This is way down on the list. Who do we got? David Young. Have you heard of him?
I don't know who that is.
Neither have I. He's a top aide to Republican U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley. Senator Joni Ernst. Have you heard of her?
I have not.
Probably because she just got elected to the Iowa Senate, I think, last term. Oh, you've heard of Matt Schultz?
Yes.
He's the one person that I think, might have some name recognition, even though I think a lot of it's not favorable. And then there's, of course, U.S. Attorney Matt Whitaker, who has kind of distinguished himself as pretty hard and far right. And then there's Rod Roberts, who is a decent guy, but he ran for governor. He was in that primary with Branstad and Vanderplatz.
Oh, okay. So he got trounced. Okay.
Yeah, he got like 8%.
Yeah, all of those folks will be trounced. King really has the best name recognition. He's got the best fundraising capability. And he's so far right that he'll get just a ton of media. So that's right now their best chance of getting.
So you really think that he will run?
I do,
and that he actually will have some credibility. And I mean, we have.
He'll get more votes than we want him to get,
which would be more than one.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
his own, him and his wife. But
two.
There you go. It's adding up quickly. But he won't beat Bruce Braley. Bruce Braley's a good guy. He's going to win. He's actually, it makes sense. He actually thinks.
Well, maybe I should run as a Republican. I mean, I went to a Republican caucus last year.
Well,
I got elected secretary of the caucus. I was actually elected to a Republican position by Republicans. the secretary of the caucus.
Did they think you changed your evil ways or something? I mean,
No, they were all too lazy to do the job.
Oh.
And actually, to their credit, they trusted me to count their votes and
now,
money.
you
and
do
was
remember
kinda
that
cool.
I said I have no Republican friends.
Yeah, I
so
know.
if you
need to go to a caucus, you'll make a few.
you become a
No, actually, you probably
Republican, I'll
won't.
have to defriend you. I mean,
No, I
it'll-
won't. I changed my voter affiliation the next day. I just ran down to the Polk County election office and said, please let me have one of those cards.
I feel dirty. Please, please, I need a shower.
But I registered as an independent. I didn't go back to being a Democrat. But yeah, so I've got a track record of being elected to a Republican office.
See, that's
Maybe I
dedication.
should run
That's
it.
the kind of dedication I do not have.
It was a fun caucus, actually. I'd never been to a Republican caucus. It was on the bucket list. I said, why not? Try it.
It'd probably be one of those like train wreck TV shows that you just can't stop watching because it's so outrageous that you're like, wow, did they really say that?
Yeah, it was
Do they
sweet.
really
I
believe
got a
that?
pro-gay marriage resolution passed.
You did.
I did.
Is it pro-gay, and as soon as they get married, you have to burn them at the stake or something
it
horrible?
was all good. It was all good. It was recognizing that gays and lesbians should have the right to marry.
You got that passed as a resolution.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Well, it didn't go any further than the precinct level, of course. But the fact that it got passed in a Republican precinct,
I'm going to give you credit there.
I'm cool with that. Yeah. Anyway, so it was
I
worth
would've
the experience on a number of levels, including being elected by Republicans to hold a position.
It's a great
in the
story.
caucus.
It's going to have to go into your memoirs.
All right, the memoirs. Yeah, when I get time to write them. All right, hey, Heather Ryan, folks, Ryan's Rants. Thanks for joining us.
Don't buy any 5-year-olds guns. For the love of God, please don't.
Wait till they're
Terrible.
6 or 7 at
Good
least.
God in heaven. Okay.
Yeah. And don't buy any guns for pit bulls either.
Oh
or for
God, leave the pit
Labrador
bulls
Retriever
alone.
mixes,
Don't give them
yeah.
guns. They've already got ferocious teeth. It's all, they don't need more.
Ferocious?
Ferocious.
Oh, ferocious. I
Ah.
thought you said ferocious. I thought you'd invented a new word here. No. All right, we're having too much fun. Heather, you got to get out of here.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Thanks, folks, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. No, what am I saying? It's Saturday. I will not be back tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday. Thank you, Maddie Arrington, for producing the show. And thanks to Webcast One Live for sponsoring for providing the studio for the show. I want to remind folks about the $1 Million Marathon. This is a relay race, not really a race, a relay run across the country. 160 people doing marathons, passing the baton to the next marathon runner. Wow, how cool is that? It's to raise money for cancer research. Great cause. Check it out online. $1 Million Marathon. Also, remember the Natural Living Expo coming up on the 18th and 19th at the State Fairgrounds. And don't forget also the Repertory Theater of Iowa's production, That Championship Season, tonight, tomorrow, and I think Sunday as well. I'll be back on Monday.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.